All right, everyone, since I'm not going to be there today, I'm going to go ahead and try and make a video lesson so that we can keep the learning going. We have been learning how to factor trinomials where a is greater than 1. So let's take a look at this one. I have 15x squared minus 27x minus 6. And for something like this, before I begin, I'm going to look to see, is there a greatest common factor before I start? So I can spot a greatest common factor of 3. So let's go ahead and use that. I'm left with the 3 being factored out, and I have 5x squared minus 9x minus 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my normal process that I've been using for factorizing the trinomial that is in the parentheses. So here is the x. A is 5, B is negative 9, and C is negative 2. A times C is now negative 10. This is AC, and then B is negative 9. So we're looking for factors of negative 10, which when added together will give me negative 9. And I think what will work really well is negative 10 and 1. So those are going to end up working out for us. I'm going to go ahead and use these to rewrite my trinomial. So let's go ahead and do that. So I still have this 3. I'm not going to forget about it. And times, let me fix this right here. 3 times 5x squared, and instead of the negative 9x here, I'm going to rewrite it as negative 10x plus 1, and I still have the minus 2 right here. So now I'm going to do what I was doing before. I'm going to take a look at this part of my factored out trinomial. I'm missing the x here. And this part of the factored out trinomial and see where I land. So let's do that. I've got still that 3, not going to forget it. And start to use the square bracket. In this first set right here, I can pull a greatest common factor of 5x, leaving me with x minus 2. And for the second part here, the greatest common factor is just plus 1, leaving me with x minus 2. I now notice that these are common when I'm considering the first term and the second term, so I can factor those out. So let's go ahead and do that. So I still have that 3, not going to forget about that. I'm going to factor out the x minus 2 because that's what's common to both terms. And I'm left with the 5x from here and then plus 1. There is my completely factored out trinomial right here, and you would always be able to check that with FOIL. Multiply it back out, see if you get back to the original, which is right up here. Okay, so this slide is just basically showing you those steps kind of worked out. So you're welcome to go ahead and take a look at this if you'd like to do that. I'm linking a couple of videos that you can watch. One is called a box method, and another one is called slide and divide method. There are, like I said in class yesterday, there are many ways to do factoring of trinomials, and so we're just looking at a few different ones, and then you'll land on the ones that you like the most or ones you feel are best for certain situations. So feel free to take a look at these videos in your own time. Okay, so next I'm going to take some time to demonstrate to you what we call the slide and divide method. It's a shortcut, kind of a mashup. It's putting together the X method with a shortcut that we know. And since you already know the X method pretty well, it's a good, useful strategy to use. Again, we're going to stick with the same kinds of things that we know from before. We are going to multiply A and C. We are going to make sure they add to B. We're looking for this factor 1, and we're also looking for a factor 2. So those are the things that are happening. You're probably recognizing or noticing this A right here. I'm going to explain what that means in just a second. Okay, so the slide and divide method uses a crazy acronym. It's SFDRS, and it is stands for something silly called Swedish fish don't really swim. Each letter stands for some action that you're going to do. So the S is for slide, so we're going to slide A to C, which means we multiply them together. That is this step 1 right here. And then we are going to factor A and C so that it adds to B. You're recognizing this as what we were doing with our X factor when we were working that out. Next, once we've found the factors for B, we're going to take those factors and actually do something interesting. We're going to divide them by A. In a minute, I'll show you an example that will make it a lot clearer on what I'm saying to do. Next, we will have fractions for those factors that we found, since we're dividing it by A, and we're going to reduce the fraction. And then we're going to swing the denominator up to the coefficient of the variable, and the numerator of the fraction will become the constant part of the factor. So I know it sounds really confusing and lots of crazy steps, but in a second when I show you an example, it will make things a lot simpler. Okay, so we are going to try and factor by slide and divide method right here, slide and divide. And we're taking this particular problem right now. It is 6x squared plus 5x minus 6. So we're going to keep following our steps, right? So the first step is slide A to C. So in order to do that, let me just fix this pen a little bit. It's really, the pen stroke's pretty thick, and I'm not liking that. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. So if I have, that's better, 6x squared plus 5x minus 6. My first step is to slide A to C. So remember, A in this case is 6, B is 5, and C is negative 6. So sliding A to C, I'm going to do A times C, which is going to give me 6 times negative 6, which is negative 36. So if I consider my X method, I have a negative 36 right here. And B in this case is 5. So that comes right here. Now I'm looking for factors of negative 36 that are going to end up adding to 5. So negative 36, I know that negative 36 and 1 is going to work. I can take 2 and negative 18. I can also do 9 and negative 4. And I think I'm going to land on this one because 9 and negative 4 added together, it's going to end up giving me the 5 that I'm looking for. So that works out pretty well. So I'm going to go with negative 4 and 9. So that's the X method that we've done so far. My next step actually is to now take the factors. My next step is to now divide these factors that I just found, the negative 4 and 9, by A. So factors are going to get divided by A. So negative 4 is going to get divided by 6 because remember A is 6. And then 9 is also going to get divided by 6 because A is 6. I do need to simplify fractions. So I'm going to reduce fractions. That's the stage right here, R, reduce fractions. So negative 4 over 6 is going to simplify down to negative 2/3. That's where I'm landing. And 9 over 6 is going to simplify down to 3 over 2. So let's just make sure we make that stand out a bit. So negative 2/3 and 3 over 2. So far, so good. Okay, so my next step is going to be to write the actual factors for this trinomial, and we can do that in a mashup method. And the way we do that is we're going to make our two sets of parentheses, and we are going to take the denominator up to the coefficient of the variable. So one of the denominators is a 2, so one of the coefficients of x is going to be 2. The other denominator is a 3, so the other coefficient of x is going to be a 3. And now I'm going to take the numerators and make that the constant part of each of the factors that I was putting together. So right here, where the denominator of 2 became the coefficient of x, I'm going to need to use this 3. So it's 2x plus 3. And then right here in this situation, where the denominator of 3 came in and became the coefficient of x, I'm going to need to use the negative 2 as the constant, or minus 2. So my factors end up becoming 2x plus 3 as one of the factors, and 3x minus 2 as the other factor. And of course, you can FOIL it out to make sure it works out. So let's just do that for good measure. 2x times 3x is going to be 6x squared, and then minus 4x plus 9x minus 6. And now when I combine these, I get a very nice, neat original problem back with the correct signage and everything. And that's how you would do something like this. So this slide is just showing you the process that I followed and just kind of worked out in a digital format, but hopefully my video explanation of it is also making some sense to you. So let's just keep chugging along. Okay, so we're going to do another example because it's a good idea to demonstrate more than just one time. So here we have 3x squared minus 2x minus 5. And in this case, A is 3, B is negative 2, and C is negative 5. I know it might seem ridiculous that I keep doing this every time, that I always sit and write down what is A, what is B, what is C. It's a good idea to do that just so that you don't make any careless mistakes. So I'm going to start by sliding A to C, which simply means to multiply A times C. So that's going to be 3 times negative 5, which gives me negative 15. I'm going to go back to my x method because that is pretty fantastic. It's negative 15 is coming up here, and then down here I need b, and b is negative 2. So I'm going to get negative 2 right here. Now back to our format, we are looking for factors of negative 15 that when added together are going to give me negative 2. I think you'll agree with me, it's pretty straightforward that negative 15 is the same as negative 5 times 3, and that would work out nicely as the two factors that I could use. So I'm going to do 3 times negative 5. So that's the second step done, right? So we've taken care of that. Now this is where things start changing up. We're now going to do divide by the new factors that we found by A. So I'm going to change my pen color just a second. All right, I'm going to divide this by 3, and I'm going to divide this by 3 simply because A is 3, and that's the step that I'm following here. 3 divided by 3 is a nice neat 1, which is the same as 1 over 1, and I cannot simplify this anymore, so this is still just going to stay as negative 5 over 3. I've done reducing of the fractions. My next step is going to be to now write the actual factors out. And to do that, I take the denominators up to the coefficient of the variable. So let's do that part first. So I know it's going to be x and it's going to be x. And I need the denominators from here, this 1 and this 3, to be the coefficient of x. My next step is that the numerator, so I didn't actually write that here, but the numerator becomes the corresponding constant. So the numerator in when the denominator was 1, the numerator was simply 1. So it's going to be 1x plus 1. And the numerator when the denominator was 3 is negative 5. So it's going to be 3x minus 5. So my nicely written up factors are actually x plus 1 and 3x minus 5. Those are my factors of this trinomial. We can always check to see did we do it correctly by multiplying it out. And if we do that, we get 3x squared minus 5x plus 3x minus 15. And if I combine my like terms right here, I do end up with 3x squared minus 2x minus 15. Ding, 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 ding. We are doing great, so that is correct. Okay, so this slide is just the same one where I was showing you the work, but it's kind of worked out digitally for you. So feel free to look at this if you like, but I think you can skip this part. Okay, we're going to do this problem now together, or I'm going to demonstrate again for you. So now we want to factor 16x squared plus 60x minus 100. So let's do that. We have 16x squared minus 60x minus 100. And I know already to me it's standing out even numbers, so there must be some things that I can factor out. And I really think like 4 would work pretty well. So let me pull that 4 out. And when I do that, I'm left with 4x squared minus 15x minus 25. So that ends up becoming a simpler trinomial. Now I'm going to focus in on that trinomial. I have to remember that I cannot lose this 4 as I go along. That is one of the most common errors that are going to end up happening. So we want to make sure that we are not leaving that behind. All right, so let's use our slide and divide method to try and work out this problem. So here we have A is 4, B is negative 15, and C is negative 25. So I'm going to use my X method again. A times C is negative 100 this time. So negative 100, and B is negative 15. So that comes in here. I'm looking for negative 15. So now I'm looking for factors of negative 100, which when added together are going to give me negative 15. So negative 100 is, oh, well, negative 100 times 1 would work. Let's see, negative 10 times negative 10 is also, sorry, positive 10 is also 100, but that's not going to help me out with getting to B. I know that negative 25 times 4 would get me there, but that also does not help me to get to B. Also, if I did 20 times negative 5, that gets me to negative 100. That actually works out pretty nicely. Sorry, I made an error here. It is plus 60x plus 60, sorry, plus 15x. Sorry, I made a mistake in copying the problem. Don't do what Sahai did, so don't make a mistake. So B is actually a positive 15. B is a positive 15. So in this case, 20 and negative 5 are going to work out. So we're going to use 20. We're also going to use negative 5. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do the part where I divide the factors by A. Remember, A is 4. So I'm going to divide by A. Let me change pen colors. I'm going to divide by 4, and then simplify. This does not simplify any further. It is negative 5/4. This part does simplify. Actually, I'm going to erase these factors from here because I need space. Bye-bye, you're gone. Okay, so this does, in fact, simplify. 20 over 4 is 5, which is the same as 5 over 1. Now my next stage is going to be to write out the factors. So first things first, I am not going to forget this 4. So this 4 is coming with me, and now I know I'm going to end up with 2 sets of factors, and the first part is always x. So my first part is always going to be x. The denominators from here, so the 4 is going to end up being one of the coefficients, and the 1 is going to be the other coefficient of x. So I found my coefficients of x. Now the constant part is the numerator, so right here, so 4x minus 5, and right here, 1x plus 5. So if I clean this up and write it more elegantly, it should be 4 times 4x minus 5 times x plus 5. You're going to have to believe me that it does actually work out to the original problem, but I'm not going to spend any time working it out. You can do that on your own if you feel like it. And like always, this next slide is just the same problem worked out again, so you're welcome to go ahead and study this for a moment. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to show you guys today in terms of the lesson. Since there is going to likely be class time, I am leaving the homework printed out, and you are welcome to start working on that in class. And then hopefully you'll be homework free and give you a chance to look through some of the previous homeworks as practice for the quiz. I'll also leave one other thing as practice for the quiz, which I'll post in Schoology, so you can pick that up from there. I hope you have a great class. I'll see you tomorrow.